Oh, it's the oldest story in the book. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy kicks open the closet door and finally meets Mr. Right.
I don't know.
How did you first get involved in the project?
I just got asked to do it. My Travis, the director, sent it to my manager, and you know, I always joke that sometimes you think, why the hell am I paying these people all this money? And then sometimes they do things like they go, read this right now, and you know, take this part. And not that I had any doubts about once I read it, but they really said, read this. And then what was great was because of that I kind of became involved on board kind of early and was able to give my, you know, talk to Travis as the drafts were changing, as the story kind of altered, and talk about my character, and then that to be, you know, put into the film. So that was nice. That's normally, you don't normally get a chance to do that.
What do you want?
You got a kid, right? Loud music ain't good for kids. It hurts their ears.
Mind your own business.
And were you aware of the story before you read the script?
No, I didn't. I mean, I think it was just because it was a script a long time ago about a man called Rudy who looked after and kind of basically parented a wee boy who was much more mentally and physically disabled than in the film. But then the whole kind of you know, court bit was added on afterwards. But that happened in the 70s. And it wasn't like a well-known story, and they're both you know, my character died of AIDS, and we don't know anything more about the wee boy. I presume he's no longer with us either.
Paul! What the hell are you doing? Last night his mom left him alone and she ain't been back since then.
What do you want me to do about it?
You're a lawyer. Marco didn't ask to be born to a junkie, didn't ask to be different, didn't ask for none of this. And I just don't see why he should be punished anymore for stuff that ain't his fault.
Family services people know he's
No,
here?
they do not, and I prefer to keep it that way. Thank you.
Rudy's a bit of a sharp character, and he can, you know, he has trouble holding his tongue sometimes.
Yes.
And you find yourself almost spitting the words out for him at times when you're watching it. He must have been a fun character to play, though.
He was really great. He was really sort of sassy and, you know, kind of his own worst enemy at certain points, but also quite vulnerable. And also, I think what's interesting is that he has this, you know, you see him at a point where he's kind of got himself sorted out, but then all of a sudden something happens, and both with his relationship with this other man, but also with this child, that just, you know, flings him into a completely new direction. He actually decides to try and keep this child himself and bring it up.
There's no way the judge is going to grant you custody. Just don't mention our relationship. Don't.
We know you can sing. We know you've got a fair set of lungs on you. That side of it as well. Did you get, you know, when you said you were involved in different stages of it as well, and when we see Rudy in his, you know, in his drag outfits and his performance and stuff, were you involved in the choices of that, you know, in the song choices and things like that, and trying to mould who he was in that sense of the character?
No, not really, because I mean, he was always going to sing, and you know, he was always a drag queen. Which I was like, oh, really? Does he have to be a drag? As a gay guy, does he have to be a drag queen? You know, I thought that was kind of cliched, but actually, there's a sort of sense of him finding his voice, you know, which is sort of literal as well as metaphorical. So I got that. But the songs were kind of, you know, in a film like this, it's usually down to the wire about whether they can afford certain songs, if they're going to get the rights and everything. And so the songs were pretty much towards the end of the process, and so, but actually they're so brilliantly kind of, they fit so well, you know, especially and I love the fact that the last few minutes of this film is just me singing with images. There's no speaking, you know, and I love the way that music is used in it, or that his singing is used in it. It all sort of ties up between the story and then the kind of the actual emotion of the film.
And the whole dressing up thing as well. Carmen Miranda was my favourite out of the looks.
Horrible.
Really?
Horrible. Yeah,
Not the fun part of the job.
I just don't like. I mean, I just think I'm a pretty ugly girl.
Oh, come on.
I'm Edith. I'm not. Wasn't fishing. I do. I mean, I think I can do androgyny quite well. A little bit of guy liner, you know, and a wee bit of lip gloss. That works well on me. But when I go the whole hog, I'm kind of like a horse in a wig.
You told me you'd be
became an attorney so you could change the world. Here is your chance to do some of that world changing.
Finally, I want to ask what you want people to take away from this film. What's the thing you want them to stay with them once they've seen this?
I would like their sense of, the fact that the emotional response they had will trigger them to not be complacent about the strides that have been made, but to also, go out and make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again, and to always be vigilant about hatred destroying love and happiness.